Welcome to the Fantasy Aceball podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on Twitter or X or whatever at Fantasy Aceball. And you can see, because we are recording, if you're watching us on the YouTube, we have Raymond Atherton also at Raymond Atherton on the Twitter X machine. And also on the YouTube, the Tim Kanak, if you want to watch the actual recording and follow along with the spreadsheet. We'll throw the spreadsheet up here now because it takes me a second usually. And Raymond, how you doing as I'm getting this thing going?
Good, man. I won one of my fantasy football leagues.
Oh, nice. How many did you play in?
4. I was 2 are dynasty, actually 3 are dynasty, and 2 I were startups that I sold in. So 2 out of 4 finished in 4th in the other one, and then won this one, which will pay for some baseball leagues. So it's always good.
Nice.
Especially since I don't win baseball leagues.
I think that's usually my hope for fantasy is like, let me make enough money that I can just keep rolling it over so that I never actually have to like come out of pocket for money. So I just like constantly leave money in my Venmo or PayPal accounts or whatever that are associated with certain leagues, just so I don't have to think about that money. And I just keep rolling it over. That's kind of the goal for me, is to just keep rolling things over. If I win, I probably won't even take the money out. I'll just leave it in there, and because I don't want to think about it. So that's kind of how I roll with it. Just make it easier, especially like if you have shared bank accounts with the wife and then they see money coming in and out all the time for like stupid stuff like fantasy baseball, and they might get mad. Easier to keep it in a separate third-party account that they don't see what's going in and out all the time, I think.
Yeah, you're the one that was like, dude, you gotta win some baseball leagues, get that ROI up. But I play in football so that I can pay for baseball. That's how it's been historically, because I win
Well,
football leagues.
you did pretty good last year. It was like 2 years ago because we were in, I don't know what, we're in like 3 or 4 leagues, and I think you were rebuilding all of them at the same time. Because like
Hmm.
a lot of those leagues are all like keeper or dynasty type leagues, and you had taken over like crap teams. And so it's just one of those phases where you were recycling into like you're recycling the team from the old owner into your style team that you want. And that takes time. Sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 2 years. Just to even like get certain guys that you like versus like guys that you don't like. And you were just doing that in so many leagues simultaneously. So that's going to hurt you. Football is going to have to pay for the baseball in that instance.
Yeah, but we're back.
We're
We got
back.
some.
We're back doing it live. All right. So looking at the outfielders, we left off last time at number 40 with Helio Ramos. And you can see there are 0 tiers yet as we're going through the outfielders. And I'm going to make everybody dizzy on the YouTube. People are going to be pausing and taking screenshots. Don't worry. This is all going to be released on Fantasy Pros in the near future here. Just like all the other positions are all up on Fantasy Pros now. So if you want to look at the fScores for any of the hitting positions besides outfielder / utility or whatever, you can look on Fantasy Pros and see all the fScores for every other position and all the like the 500 or 600 hitters or whatever I did. And finishing up pitcher. Hopefully, I'll have pitcher stuff up for starting pitchers this weekend. I haven't even started relievers yet, so that'll probably take me another week or two because I've got over 100 names on that one too that I've got to kind of filter through. I'm not just ranking the closers because I'm in too many leagues like Otnu where you need 5 relievers. And if you're in a 16-team league where you need 5 relievers, then you better be going at least like 100 deep on relievers. So I think I've got like 140 or 150 relievers or something that I'm going to be going through. Besides like the 280 starting pitchers that I've been ranking. I'm only have like 30 left to go, 20 or 30 left to go, so I'm almost done. And you can see here on the outfielders that I think Santander, like, look, there's like very few free agents left. We've got Santander, we have Jurickson Profar, and then all the way down the bottom, we've got like Tommy Pham, Alex Verdugo, Harrison Bader. Those are all guys that could sign like right before, or Adam Duvall. Those are all guys that could sign right before spring training. Or even like Adam Duvall might not even sign. He might just be a guy who gets Brandon belted out of the league this year. So we'll see. Like those guys, it doesn't really matter. Like the names that kind of matter, I think, for like hey, sign with someone soon is more like Santander and Profar, and it kind of sounds like Santander is going to be very soon because like he and Bregman are like the last big bat free agents left on the market. There's a decent number of like number 3 type starters still kind of out there. And there's a good amount of relievers, dude, that are still free agents. It's pretty interesting that like the reliever market has not moved at all in free agency yet. Because you've got like Chapman or not, sorry,
Yates.
Chapman already signed. Yates, Seawald, Kimbrell. There's a few other guys. Leclerc.
A couple of those guys aren't probably going to be closers.
I would expect
But
Yates, based on his season last year, to be a
Yates,
closer. Seawald has historically been one of these guys who might not be like the closer, but then ends up like getting a lot of saves anyway. So we'll see what happens with him. And there's a couple other guys like Cabral still might get a shot. Like maybe he'll go to like the Rockies or like the Marlins or something, just so he can keep padding his saves for his Hall of Fame resume. Who knows? Or maybe he'll go back to the Braves. Like the Braves, I think, have a couple injuries in their pen, so it might make sense for him to like go back to the Braves and be like the setup guy for Iglesias, or I don't know, maybe they can bounce around between each other. Just interesting thing to think about that the relievers market has not really moved too much. So outfielders, you can see here the next outfielder on my rankings is a rookie, Emmanuel Rodriguez. I already know what you're going to say, Raymond. You're going to be like, dude, you and your rookies are way too high, blah, blah, blah. But like you can see here, what's really carrying Emmanuel Rodriguez's stats is a 181 discipline, which is the like basically up here with Steven Kwan. Like the only other guy who like is that high, it's like Soto and Steven Kwan are like the only other guys that high in their plate skills. So I think that he is just going to be a points, like ridiculous for points or OBP leagues. I heard someone on another podcast say this, and it really like kind of stood out to me because I'm like, yeah, that's a good comp. It might have been James Anderson, comped him to like Max Muncy with speed as like an outfielder because he also is going to probably steal like 15 bags. Like he's got some speed. But that's because he always has a bad batting average, but he has a really good walk rate, like 20+% walk rate. So I think that's actually a pretty good comp. And so like I think he'll probably be up at worst case scenario, like on a James Wood type timeline. And if you're in a points league or you're in a dynasty or keeper league that's an OBP or points league, like it's worth keeping him this high on your list just because you want to draft him over someone like Elaine Thomas. But if you're in a redraft league, like I can completely understand like dropping him further down in the rankings. But I do think that he belongs in a tier with a bunch of these other guys that we're going to be talking about here. So what do you think about Emmanuel Rodriguez real quick?
Yeah, I mean, he played at 4 levels last year, which is impressive in and of itself. And like you look at his AAA numbers, 217 average, 400 OBP. Like if that doesn't illustrate those on base skills you're talking about, I don't know what does. But yeah, a lot of times you bring up people and I have to look them up, and he's one of them. I don't know if I would have him this high, but
he also had a near 115 max EV in the minors last year with a 90 average exit velocity, 90 mile per hour average exit velocity. And in 2023, he stole 20 bases in 99 games. So like he's got some talent. Like he's got a lot of talent here, but he just has had trouble staying healthy is like his biggest issue, or else I think he would have probably been up last year even.
yeah, I think
Classic
part of his
twins,
problem
right?
I think part of his problem is he only played in 47 games last year. So being healthy might be a goal of his in 2025. But
Yeah.
no. I think after you get outside the top 40 at outfield, you're just chasing upside. So this is fine.
All right, next guy here, Brenton Doyle. What do you think about Brenton Doyle, dude? Are you like, what do you think about his last year? Are you buying the Brenton Doyle, or is this just like Nolan Jones all over again?
I don't think it's Nolan Jones all over again. Is he the one whose ADP is just no, that's Lawrence Butler. Um, No, I think I'm more buying than selling. Do you know his ADP?
I do not offhand. Um, but like he was
He
really good last year. I mean, he had he has 23 homers and 30 steals last year in Colorado. I mean, like he still only had a 97 WRC plus. So that tells you something when someone goes 20-30 and they still only have a 97 WRC plus. But hey, like
Coors, baby,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
692 OPS for his
Uh,
career.
I mean, he's not moving. The Rockies never trade anybody. Like they always hold on, like except for like Nolan Arenado, but they never trade anybody. So I think he's just going to be there until his playing time runs out. And he was like a 25-year-old rookie, so that means that he's going to be, the next what's his name, Whit Merrifield, basically like a 33-year-old free agent.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't do anything spectacularly well other than I don't, homers and steals. He's like the perfect roto player. He's not going to kill you in average. He's not a difference maker really in runs or RBIs, but 20-30 sure is useful, especially in the outfield.
Yeah, basically, and like we're gonna talk about him in a second, but I think basically, like if I had to comp him, I'd be like, this guy's basically just did what Cedric Mullins had done a couple of years ago. Like he's kind of like the Cedric Mullins of like Coors Field. Like he's like the best part though is that he has Coors Field backing him, so it's going to be a lot easier for him to repeat those similar similar type of stat line that he put up last year.
And he's an elite defender, so he's not coming off the field. So that's he's like one of my one of my favorite people to target later in drafts. Like you get power and speed,
Yeah,
sign me
and
up.
the hit tool is not bad. 100. He's a league average hit tool with power and speed, so it works in cores. Matt Wallner, dude, are you buying Matt Wallner in that like power, even though he has like a near 40% strikeout rate or whatever it is? Are you buying that at all?
I mean, I'm buying the power, but I don't know that he's going to be especially useful for fantasy. It just seems kind of like Jock Peterson with one party trick.
Or Joey
Um,
Gat? I don't. He strikes out a lot more than Jock though. That's the thing. Like 36% K rate last year, or yeah, 36 something percent K
yeah,
rate last year is
I
terrible.
guess
So
Gallo's not bad. Um,
yeah. But a almost 117 max EV, 93 average exit velocity, and a 17.5% barrel rate. That's insane power here. So I mean, like the thing is, if they platoon him because he's a lefty, so if they platoon him, he's only playing against righties. So he gets 480 plate appearances or whatever. He could still hit 30 bombs. So you could still get 30 bombs from that. So the main question here is, would you rather have 30 bombs with a bunch of Ks than like some of these other guys that we have below here, like a Cody Bellinger or a Lane Thomas, who's also going to give you some speed, or a Tyler O'Neill who could like hit 30 bombs and get some steals, but you know that dude's getting it hurt at some point. So like, or like Kerry Carpenter, right? Like here's another guy. I think Kerry Carpenter is actually better than Wallner. Like he's just
oh
a better
yeah,
player. But
absolutely.
the hit tool is definitely way better. Uh,
Hmm.
the concern with Carpenter for me is the injuries. So would you rather take a guy like Kerry Carpenter coming off that was it like a spinal cord injury or something, like something ridiculous? What was his injury? Tigers fan?
Yeah, it was something to do with his back, lower back spine, something.
Yeah, I remember when
But
he
I
got hurt.
mean,
You even said there's no way this dude's coming back this year, and then he did.
and
So
then
it's
he
like, are
did,
you?
and then he was good.
Yeah, he's always been a really good hitter when he plays. So like, would you rather take Kerry Carpenter coming off that injury, or would you rather take Matt Wallner, who like Carpenter's better than? Like we're both saying that he's definitely going to be better than him. They're the same age, but like Wallner is just going to be in a platoon. So would you rather take the automatic, like, okay, let's assume he's not going to get hurt, 480, 500 platoon at bats, or the possibility of Carpenter getting 600 at bats, but he could also get hurt again because it's a back injury and like miss half the season?
I don't think Wallner's going to get 400 or 500 plate appearances, but I mean his career high is 260. Um, I don't think Carpenter's going to get 600 either. The way they platoon, he can't hit lefties either. But I'll take the guy who's done it before. He's got a. Has he had a 30 homer season?
No, I don't think he's had enough plate appearances to do that. But I
He
think I
certainly
have
can,
to.
though.
I think I have to take Carpenter ahead of Wallner. His hit tool is so good. Like he's basically like Kerry Carpenter is almost just like the new JD Martinez. Is
Just
like
left-handed. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna bump him up. I'm gonna put him ahead
Yeah,
of,
I would swap them.
and I think I'm gonna put Doyle ahead of Rodriguez. If I'm in a dynasty league, I'm probably gonna take Rodriguez ahead of Doyle, just because of the age and the upside. But I think in like a standard league, I'm probably gonna be going. I'll probably put Carpenter ahead of Rodriguez too. I like Carpenter a lot. So
I think Nimmo is super underrated just in general, but that's
yeah,
we're not,
Well, Nemo's another guy, right? Who like has a reputation of being injury prone, but like he hasn't really gotten hurt in the last couple of years. But he also kind of doesn't do a lot. He's just kind of like 15-10
yeah,
with
he's an
like
accumulator.
260 average with like a decent amount of runs. And so if you're in a categories league, he's just like okay, right? He's
Although
like
he is
nothing special. But in
his
a
40
points league, he's great.
his 47 homers over the last 2 years, 24 and 23 and 23 and 24. That's fun.
Okay, so, yeah, but he doesn't steal. So the thing now we have to consider if we're talking about like Nimmo and Cedric Mullins here, right? Like we got two guys right next to each other. If you're in a points league, you're definitely going to take Nimmo, in my opinion. But if you're in a Cats league, it could make sense to get Cedric Mullins. Say, okay, he's going to have 17 homers and 30 steals, or would I rather have like the 22 homers and 8 steals that Nimmo's going to bring?
Nimmo had 15 steals last year to his credit.
He's always been really fast. Like his home to first times are always insane. He's just not been a
Base
large
stealer.
runner over his career. Yeah.
I am really scared of Mullins. Like that hit profile is not good. It's not just average, it's not good. So, depending on where he ends up and is he a free agent? He's a free
No,
agent, right?
no.
No.
He's probably just going to be the starting center fielder for the Orioles, or at least against righties. I mean, he might just get platooned. But I mean,
1832. I don't know, man.
last year he was pretty good,
They
dude.
they have so many hitters. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like any of them could just like lose playing time if they decide to start anyone else full time.
Nobody
I'll
knows what
take
they're doing.
I'll take Nimmo over Mullins.
Why they have not gotten a starting pitcher is insane. But I don't know.
Why did they sign an infielder?
I don't know. Why did they go get Tyler O'Neill when they have a million other prospects that could play there? You know? So
Yeah.
I riddle me. I don't know. I have no idea, dude. Like why they're spending money on stuff like that instead of well, I guess they offered Burns more than what he signed for with the Diamondbacks.
But he wanted to stay in Arizona with his
So like
kids, yeah.
yeah, you can't really like say they didn't try there. But they probably should have had a plan B before all these other guys went to other places. Besides Jack Flaherty, the guy who completely burned out last time he was there. So
I forgot he was there for a hot second.
yeah, and he's terrible there. So the only place that Flaherty's been good in the last like 3 years or 4 years is Detroit. So he really
Yeah,
should
baby.
sign with Detroit, but I don't think
They don't want him back.
Yeah, they don't want him. It'd be funny though. It would be hilarious if they signed him for another 1 year deal and then traded him again at the deadline. That'd be that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Tigers really like doing that, but they signed their 1 year pitcher already.
Yeah, Alex Cobb. But Alex Cobb is not going to be a Jack Flaherty. He doesn't have that kind of upside. He's just going to be more like a Kenta Maeda. So, sorry to tell you that, but you've got Jackson Jobe coming, so I wouldn't be too concerned. Dylan Cruz is the next guy on the list here. Dylan Cruz actually showed a lot of speed upside last year, and he's going to be breaking camp. So I'm pretty excited actually for Dylan Cruz. I think he's kind of like if you wanted like a young prospect, like younger type guy, like some of the guys that we talked about in the last tier. Dylan Cruz is like super underrated right now because last year in the minors, he had 13 bombs and 25 steals and under 400 plate appearances. So you could, scale that out to be 20, 35 or something like that. Obviously that's minor leagues. So like you bring it to the majors, even in the major last year, though, 119 at bats, 12 steals. Like, I don't think he's a 50 steal guy, but I think he, like, based on what he's shown us so far in the minors, and like he didn't do this in college, which is what makes it even more interesting. But I think he's a 30 steal guy. I think he's going to be a 20-30 player. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I can get behind that. Dude, I hate not
And
I hate, but
you know what else? He has a better hit tool than Cedric Mullins. I have to take Dylan Cruz ahead of Cedric Mullins. And he's not going to be in a platoon. He's going to play every day. I think I also have to take Cruz ahead of Nimmo, unless I'm in a points league. I think if I'm in a points league, I'm probably going to take Nimmo ahead of Cruz. I'm taking Cruz ahead of Wallner too, dude.
I
Like,
think
oh my,
Wallner needs to be like 10 spots lower. Like Wallner needs to be just ahead of PCA, in my opinion.
we'll play with it as we go. I think
We're not going
so,
name by
like,
name, right? Like,
no, we're not. But like these rookies are interesting. So like Emmanuel Rodriguez and Dylan Cruz. If I'm in a Cats league, I'm picking Dylan Cruz. If I am in a points league, I'm picking Emmanuel Rodriguez. I'm just making that very clear in the podcast here because I'm going to put Cruz ahead of Rodriguez. But like if I'm in a points league, or at a dynasty points league or a dynasty OBP, I'm picking Rodriguez ahead of Cruz. Just so that's clear. Bellinger. I think I've got to put Bellinger up, don't I? Now that he's in
yeah,
like I put this in, I just plugged him in before he signed with before he was traded to the Yankees. Now that he's on the Yankees, I think like what do you think? Do you think he's gonna be better than Nimmo? Better than Wallner? Like he's gonna get so many runs in RBI probably.
um, I don't know. Nimmo had a much better year last year than he did. He only went 18-9. Nimmo went what, 23-15, I just said.
Yeah.
So I think him right behind Nimmo makes sense.
Yeah, I
He's
agree. I think
probably going to be overdrafted because of the Yankees bump, but I mean, there's some health concerns there, and then
couldn't
like
ask for a better
some
player.
people just hate playing in New York too, so that
He
always is
wanted
lurking in the.
Dude, he wanted it. But the weird thing is, I don't know if you saw. I know you probably sent it to me. But like, apparently his wife used to date Giancarlo. Like, that's gonna be so weird. Like, are they
Giancarlo
friends?
Stanton's Giancarlo Stanton's ex-girlfriend is Cody Bellinger's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must be friends.
I like that has to be. Isn't that something you'd have to ask like before you trade for that guy as the GM? You'd be like, "Yo, if I bring you in here, Stanton's not gonna like crush you, right?"
Right. They just want to win, man. The Yankees
Yeah.
are desperate for a World Series.
All right. What about this one? Lane Thomas or Cedric Mullins? Who are you picking between these two? Because the fScores like Mullins better, but the thing is, I think Mullins, like we said, will be platoon, and Lane Thomas, like why wouldn't he get full run? Like he was like the Guardians guy during the playoffs. Like he's the one who was like leading that team down the stretch. And who else do they have? You know what I mean? Will Benson,
Chase the
Will
Lauder.
Brennan or whatever his name is. Yeah, I get. Well, yeah, but DeLauder is always hurt, and is he going to supplant him? I don't think so. He's going to playing right, and Quan playing left, and Thomas playing center probably.
I I just think he's an actively bad hitter. Like, I don't know, man. There's a
Just leave it
chance
up.
I think he's in AAA next year.
No, he's streaky. That's for sure. Okay, Nick
I guess he,
Castellanos.
yeah.
I'll just leave him. Nick Castellanos. I am not a Nick Castellanos guy just because has terrible plate skills. But he always is going to produce. But like, I think I've got him in the right spot here because he's not going to steal bags, and he's only really like, unless he's in Cincinnati, he's only like a 22 homer guy or something like that. So
Yeah, I did. The rumors that they want to trade him kind of threw me off. I don't know. He
they've been saying that
rebounded.
for 2 years now.
He rebounded kind of nicely to put up a decent stat line. 20 homers, 80 runs. And you know he's going to get some RBIs for you hitting in that lineup. So, um, he was ninth in the National League in at bats last year. He's the
Yeah, he's
definition of
always
an
healthy.
accumulator.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
dude's always healthy.
He's like the guy when you're like, man, I could kind of use some RBIs. Which is a crazy thing to say, but
You know what's insane though? His career WAR It's only 14.
Because he's so bad at defense, dude.
Yeah, that's
He's so
terrible.
bad.
That's why the Phillies want to trade him. It's not the hit tool. It's because he's still bad defensively. That is so bad. How many years? Like how many seasons has he played? 8, 9, 10, 11,
12.
11, 11. Yeah,
12.
he's gonna. This is gonna be his 12th season, and he only has a 14.6 WAR. That's pretty bad, bro.
Bro, his
For
fielding
a guy who gets
metrics he's the first percentile in arm value in the fourth percentile in outs above average.
yeah, he needs to be a DH. Okay, Tyler O'Neill. What are you doing with O'Neill, dude? He was pretty good with the Red Sox, and like I feel like the Orioles are a good landing spot for him. Even though, yeah, we don't know what the walls are going to look like. Right, they're moving the walls in for righties, so apparently the stadium's going to be better for O'Neill than it has played in the past. We don't really know how park factors are going to change. This is assuming the old park factors, so it's probably going to be better than this. His power tool. But this guy is always hurt. So like he's always pretty good. He's streaky. He strikes out a ton like Matt Wallner. He's basically like Matt Wallner with speed, but hurt. Like, so do you rank Wallner ahead of O'Neill, or are you just going to take O'Neill's upside of, hey, he's probably going to hit, 20 points better, and he's also going to steal more bags? So like, what do you do in this situation?
No, I think I mean Wallner's probably ceiling is 400, 450 plate appearances, which is what you're going to get out of O'Neill probably anyways. So I'll just take O'Neill and supplant him while he's hurt. And I'm kind of buying the right-handed hitters of the Orioles. I traded for Mountcastle in a league already this offseason. I think the Orioles going to get him kind of makes sense because their lineup kind of got a little too heavy left-handed.
Yeah.
So, um, Grosser Resource has some batting cleanup in between O'Hearn and Cowser. So I can,
O'Hearn and O'Neill. That's
yeah,
funny.
right.
Yeah. And they're the O's.
And they're the O's, right? Yeah.
That's gonna be a
Um,
thing. That's a marketing thing right there for this team for this year.
that's a box of cereal if I've ever
Yeah.
heard one.
Yeah, exactly. That's a new bar. So this is the last. This is, I think, the last guy in this tier, unless you would throw anyone else in here or out of here. But I think Lars Newbar is the last guy in the tier. Obviously, he has a ton of upside. Going to be great for points leagues, but he again injury issues. Uh, the Cardinals' offense sucks. If they trade Nolan Arenado, like Newbar has to hit third, right? Like I guess Contreras could hit third, but like Newbar's going to hit second or fourth or something because the rest of the lineup is like just a bunch of 270 hitters with 15 homer upside. So like I think it's got to be Newbar. But like, what do you think? I'm willing to defer to other people now because I've always been so high on Newbar, but like I think I'm gonna come off of him a little bit this year, but I don't want to come too far off just because of like me being anti Cardinals this year. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think he's pretty talented, but he's given no inkling that he can stay healthy. But the Statcast page still pops. Like, there's a lot of red in there. And like, I don't know. I'm kind of buying the dip on the Cardinals. We were talking about Jordan Walker a little bit ago before we started recording. Like, the Cardinals have every reason to just let those guys play.
Yeah.
So if he can stay healthy, he's gonna get 600 at bats.
I mean, dude, really, like his projected line on Fangraphs is basically on like streamer is basically Brandon Nimmo's like standard season. So
Yeah.
I,
I'm-
like this is my question: are you picking Walner or Newbar? Are you going to go with
New
the homer
bar,
upside?
new bar,
Yeah,
new bar.
I think I am too. And
Are that like
I'm probably going O'Neill over Newbar though. Like I like the situation for O'Neill a little bit better, and like both of them have injury problems, so I think I'll just go O'Neill, Newbar, even though that hurts me as a Cardinals fan. But I think that's kind of like the move.
the Wallner player profile is just so volatile that it's frustrating for fantasy. Like he either hits 4 home runs in a week, gets 12 RBIs or whatever, or like hits 105 and doesn't do anything for you, strikes out 18 times.
Yeah, dude hits nukes. I had him in our 12 team or 14, I guess it's 14 team. We call it dynasty league, even though it's only 15 keepers or whatever. But like, I had him in that league last year, like a lot, like for a good part of the season, just because he was streaky, and I just throw him on the bench when he was cold, and when he get hot, he would win me weeks, just him being hot, because
I
he
had him
like
in
5 homers in a week.
I had to trade for him in our 20 team league because I needed to stay out of last place and he helped.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind here too. Look at the betas. Tyler O'Neill's beta is 43. Lars Nootbaar's beta is under 1. So pretty consistent stat wise, like under the hood every year. Whereas O'Neill is just like so up and down, but like he can be so good. We've seen that from O'Neill.
What's
So
Newbar's 99th percentile outcome? 30-20 and hits like
probably
260.
I don't think he would run that much, even though he has some speed. I think it's more like 30-15 with like a 290 batting average. Like he has a good hit tool. It's just the fact that he's a lefty and you can shift him. So like I
Mm,
feel like that'd be his like ceiling. That's is like 290 with 30 bombs and like 15 steals. And then just like a 400 OBP because he has that kind of play, you know. He has that kind of judgment in the strike zone that he could be a 400 OBP guy.
interesting. Okay.
Yep. So next tier down, Pete Crow Armstrong is currently ahead of this tier, and that's because it's a bunch of speed guys and then like a bunch of old guys is kind of the way that this tier looks like right now. So like we've got like Pete Crow Armstrong, Victor Robles, which I don't know if you're buying that and like which of these two guys you would pick because they both have their pros and cons. And then there's like a guy like George Springer, right, who's just kind of like meh, but he's getting older and getting worse. Like he was really good before, and now it's just kind of like, okay, what are we gonna get from Springer? You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be
Yeah.
basically a worse version of like the Nimmo and Nootbaar profile that we were just talking about. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's on
gonna,
the other side of that age curve that we talked
yeah,
about.
he's like 18 homers, like 5 steals, decent. He's a good eye still, so he'll have a decent, decent plate skills. But like he'll probably only hit like 240 or something. So like, would you rather go for like, let me just get the steals with these younger steals guys, or are you picking Springer? Or I mean, like it probably just depends on build. Like they're all in the same tier here. So like the way I have this ranked right now, Pete Crow, Armstrong, Robles, Springer. I really like Garrett Mitchell. The thing with him is the injury concerns, and then he'll probably be in like a strong side platoon. It sounds like with Blake Perkins or like something like that. So, and then we got Taylor Ward, always hurt, right? Willie Abreu. So we have some interesting names here, and Jerkson Pavara obviously is like he's not going to repeat that season. Adolis Garcia, Roman Anthony here. That kind of depends on when he's going to get called up and like what the Red Sox do if they can trade someone like Abreu or move Rafaela somewhere else so that they can get room for Anthony, because how are they going to find room for Christian Campbell and Roman Anthony? And I think Campbell's going to be the first one up. He's older. He moved up the levels quicker. So I think Campbell would probably get the call before Anthony if one of them is going to get the call, but like they've got some room to clear. So like, what do you think of this like little grouping here and like the way that it currently sits?
I want to do a better job in 2025 of like acknowledging that George Springer type has value, like the boring veteran guy, rather than chasing upside from unproven young players. Um, so I think he's properly rated. I also love Garrett Mitchell, but echo your injury concerns. Taylor Ward, I think, might be too high. I think we know what we're going to get out of him. Um, and I don't know if either of those guys, those Red Sox guys, are going to make the team. I think Adolis might be a little bit too low. I
He
hadn't
was
realized
so
we hadn't.
He was just so bad in the second half. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
it's the start of him just being bad because he has bad plate skills. And like I've always talked about Adelise having a Javier Baez type profile. And once Baez got bad, he stayed bad. like he did not rebound, and I'm concerned that Adelise is going to have the same type of issue. So I don't know, like the power speed upside is still there. He's still only going to be 32, but like how much can we trust that just wasn't the end for him? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they have the guys to replace him too. If he just sucks, then they're like, okay, more playing time for Evan Carter. See ya. You know what I mean? Like they don't need him to succeed. Like he's not in a spot where he has to start. Like the Rangers have guys because they have Leody Tavares that they can put in there. They've got Alejandro Osuna who can come up and play. They just signed Jock. So like Jock can always, spot in the outfield if you really want to do, but like they don't I don't think they necessarily need Adelise to put 600 plate appearances together if he's struggling.
yeah, I just think there's such a track record there, and like I don't know, I kind of feel like the Rangers last season were like the Padres of 2 years ago, where just like everything went wrong. So like he's penciled to bat fifth in what we think is going to be a pretty good lineup again. So you don't have to move him up, but maybe he's just going to be a target of mine if he's really going to go around the outfield 60 mark. That'd be awesome. Profar, yeah. I was just reading that the Yankees might sign Profar.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I'd like
That
him
would
more
be
if they did.
interesting. But yeah, no, I think this tier is properly grouped. I would just move Ward down, Garcia up, maybe a couple. Draw the line at Burleson. Also, I looked up
Ward
the
was
Red
pretty good
Sox.
last year, though, dude. 25 bombs and 6 steals.
Didn't he hit like 212 though?
He actually had a decent. Well, he had 246, and that's with like no protection. It was actually his first full season of his career, really. 156 games. So
585 plate appearances. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I think like that's what like maybe Adelise gets a couple more bags and a couple more homers, but I think that if you're in a points league, Ward is going to do you better. So I feel like the two of them should probably be near each other. You know what I mean? Like Profar, I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Ward and Garcia together. And then if I'm in a Cats league, I'm probably picking Adelise. If I'm in a points league, I'm probably going Ward. And then Profar, I just think is a different kind of profile. Like he's probably not going to do what he did.
For the Red Sox, is Campbell or are either of those guys left-handed or right-handed? I mean,
Campbell's right-handed.
I would suspect he's up first because the Red Sox have 6 left-handed hitters in their opening day lineup.
Oh, well, that's probably one of the reasons why they're fine with trading Tristan Casas. Because Roman Anthony's also a lefty. So
their top 3 hitters are left-handed: Duran, Devers, Casas, Yoshida, Abreu.
Well, they're trying to trade Yoshida, but who's going to trade for that contract? Like nobody wants Yoshida. That's a terrible contract.
The Mariners could have had him.
Yeah. What about some of these other guys? I think this is a different tier. I think like once I get to, I think if Roman Anthony, like he's good enough to be in this tier, I'm going to leave him in this tier. But like Alec Burleson, is he in this tier or is he different? Because like Burleson had spurts of being pretty good last year. And I think there's more guys moving out of St. Louis. It's just going to be more playing time for him. And I think if he's playing like first in DH instead of in the outfield, he's like Castellanos. He's a terrible outfielder. If he's playing like DH instead, I feel like he's going to be better. Like his hit, I feel like we're going to see more power from him. I feel like we're going to see him continue to improve. So I almost want to put Alec Burleson in this tier too.
I think there's a clear distinction between him and the guys coming up of like he's gonna get 550 plus plate appearances and these other guys are not. So
yeah.
I think that's fine to include him. And then I think if we know that Anthony's gonna break camp, I wouldn't have a problem jumping him up a tier.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be a stud. I think he has the talent of these guys in that next tier up, but like, it's just like, when is he going to come up? Like, in my opinion, it depends on what the Red Sox do. If they make another trade and clear some room, then it's possible. But if not, then he's probably going to be, they're going to need an injury or something to clear room, or like a trade near the deadline, because it's going to have to be a move or an injury. Otherwise, like, I don't know how they're going to find the room for him.
Yeah, I was just wish casting the Red Sox to trade for Luis Robert.
Oh,
But
they don't need another outfielder.
I know
They need it. They need,
especially an expensive one.
they need more pitching is what they need. Or like what they've been talking about possibly is like, if they don't get Bregman because they're in on Bregman, maybe they get Nolan Arenado for free or whatever, and then move Casas for a pitcher, and then
I
that way
really don't think they should trade Casas.
I just think Devers is not the best defensive third baseman, and they're trying to improve the team.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
make micro improvements in that kind of scenario. Like, it'd be worth the slight downgrade of bat to downgrade from like Casas to Arenado bat wise, to upgrade your defense to a one of the best defensive third basemen of all time, and moving Devers to first. So that's the upgrade. Right. Next tier down, Brandon Marsh. Like, fScores loved him, dude. Like, they loved him last year too. And like, I had a good amount of Marsh last year as kind of like a fourth, fifth outfield type. And it kind of paid off. He was pretty solid last year. The main thing for him is just like, he's a platoon bat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But still, 16 homers and 19 steals for a platoon bat is not bad. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. So I think he's okay heading off this next tier here. And I think Parker Meadows is kind of like the same mold as him. Evan Carter is also going to be a platoon bat. So now you can see we're working into the platoons. Like, now we're getting into like, okay, here's the good platoon guys. Because you got like Parker Meadows, Jock Peterson here, which I think Jock I have to move up now that he's with Texas, because I think that's a really good landing spot. I think he's going to get a ton of RBI. Like, I am going to pick Jock. I'm taking Jock ahead of Soler, right? Like, are you doing the same thing?
Jock ahead of Soler. Yeah,
definitely. Basically the same, dude. Look at this. Look at their fScores between these two guys. Their hit tool is like, everything is basically the same. If you're watching this, like, you can see, like, they're the same age. They're basically the same dude.
I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again, but they're the type of guys in a 12-team league who, when you look at the final line, it's always respectable, and it's like, oh, that guy should be rostered in the 12-team league and helpful for fantasy. But getting there throughout the day in, day out of a full season is so frustrating.
Yeah.
So
great for weekly or for daily leagues, not for weekly leagues.
Yeah, I'm pretty out on both of those guys. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. I'd rather take
Parker Meadows ahead of them.
I'd rather take Evan Carter or Parker Meadows. Yeah, I'm taking both those guys above.
Is Parker Meadows getting full PAs?
I was just about to say, I think so. Like, he got hurt last year, which messed everything up. But I mean, if you give him 540 plate appearances, he was on an 18-18 pace, the 743 OPS last year. Like,
basically Brandon Marsh. So I'm gonna move Meadows ahead. I'm gonna move Meadows ahead. I'm moving Pages way down now. By the way,
dude, he hit 260 against lefties. Like, towards the end, they were letting him play every day. Like, he came back once he was finally healthy and was making just ridiculous grabs in the outfield and was a true spark plug for that Tigers team last year. So I think he's really underrated. I'm gonna have a lot of him.
All right, dude. Jordan Walker.
Assume.
Jordan Walker.
Dude, what the hell?
Talk about.
What do we do with Jordan Walker? What do I do with Jordan Walker?
I feel like I have to move Walker up here, because all these other guys are platoon guys. I think that I'm going to move Walker up a tier. I think I'm going to Roman Anthony. We don't even know when he's going to debut. I think I like Jordan Walker more than Profar. Like, the fScores just don't like him because he hits the ball, and this is why. I'll tell you why. You see a 104 power here. Like, how does that guy have 104 power? That guy hits the ball to the moon. It's because he hits the ball on the ground, and like, this is part of my power is a reverse ground ball split. So like if you hit the ball on the ground a ton, then it's going to bring your power score down, if that makes sense, in the fScores. Jordan Walker is basically Yandy Diazing the crap out of the ball. If he can lift the ball, like this dude is going to be a complete stud. But he's still 23. He's going to get he's going to get 600 at bats this year. They're not going to send him down. The Cardinals are resetting. They're just going to let him play. So I
He's
think
only 22.
Yeah, he's going to turn 23 next year. I think I've got to move him ahead of Profar. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him right in between Adolis Garcia and Jerkson Profar.
I don't know that I would move him that far because he's literally done nothing.
Like, he has so much potential. This is the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
You're just
I'm making this move all based on his potential, even though the fScores tell me not to. They're literally telling me not to do it. But like, I know this guy's going to play, and I know that what kind of power is in that bat because I've seen it live a bunch of times. It's just a matter of him. He just needs to stop hitting the ball on the freaking ground and hit it in there. That's all it is.
There was some weird stuff going on with him and the Cardinals about like they messed with his mechanics and he didn't like it and he's like, I'm just going to go back to doing what I used to do. And so maybe he's not going to be a true 30 homer hitter. But I mean, if he just hits the ball hard and gets back to being a good hitter first, I think that'd be a huge step forward.
Well, dude, if he's hitting the ball on the ground 115 miles an hour, it's still going to be a hit. It's not going to be a home run, but he's going to.
Yeah.
No one like you're not gonna be able to get him out. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people think you can develop power at the major league level. So like, all I'm saying is you're taking a huge gamble just based on he's going to play every day. But
also the Cardinals now have Chaim Bloom in charge, who is he's refurbishing the entire Cardinals like development because apparently the Cardinals are like complete morons and had like they had like nothing that other teams have. Like they didn't have like the machine,
organizational philosophy.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the machine, but there's the machine where it shows you the other pitcher's pitches, right? Like you can actually like put like, oh, I want to play against Corbin Burns' pitches, and then it'll throw Corbin Burns' pitches, right? And you can warm up against that machine before the game. The Cardinals didn't even have that machine. Like apparently like 24 teams in the league had that machine. The Cardinals are one of the teams that did not have it. And like all the teams that didn't have it, those machines all sucked. So like, I don't know. I think with Chaim Bloom coming in there and seeing what he's done with the Red Sox farm system and the Red Sox players, I feel like I don't know. I just feel good vibes. I'm gonna put Walker ahead of Profar just purely on vibes. I think Roman Anthony still has more upside than Walker. I just don't know when he's coming up. So like this might just be if I'm in a dynasty league, I'm picking Anthony. If I'm in a redraft league, I'm gonna pick Walker. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Walker right here, right under Alec Burleson. How about that? You feel better about that one?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move him right under Alec Burleson. Okay. So Byron Buxton was pretty good last year, but hurt. Jake McCarthy, if you need steals, right? So we have a bunch of like talent guys. Tommy Edman, I think, needs to be in the next tier. Now that the Dodgers signed him, that shows to me that they believe he's going to be healthy and he's going to start every day. And like Tommy Edman, when he starts every day, is a 15-30 guy. And I feel like I'd rather have a 15-30 guy in the Dodgers lineup than like probably what Profar can do, which is more like 15-15 or like Adolis, probably what Adolis is going to go 30-10 maybe or 25-10. Like who are you picking, Adolis or Tommy Edman for this year? Dodgers Tommy Edman.
I lost you there for a minute. What did you say?
I said, are you picking Dodgers Tommy Edman or like Rangers Adolis?
Dodgers Tommy Edman.
Yeah. I think I'm picking him at a Ward. Willie Abreu, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Garrett Mitchell, definitely. George Springer, yeah. Ahead of Pete Crow and Robles. Should Tommy Edman be in this tier here with Wallner and Nootbaar? Like probably ahead of Wallner, I think, right? Dodgers Tommy Edman. I'm picking ahead of Wallner.
I think Wallner needs to go down a tier.
But he can hit 30 bombs. It's just like, yeah, I guess. Actually, you know what? He definitely should go down a tier. I think he should be down by like. I think he should be probably the top of this tier, but it should definitely be down a tier. I think you're correct. Tommy Edman or Lars Nootbaar. I think I lost you. I think I'm going Nootbaar though, because as we're waiting for Edman to come back on, I think I'm going Nootbaar here over Tommy Edman, and that's going to be because Tommy Edman's going to be hitting 9th, and Tommy Edman and Lars Nootbaar is going to be hitting way higher up. So that's what I'm going with here. I love that. The name WTF StreamYard. I just put Edmund up in the tier with O'Neill, Tyler O'Neill, and Lars Nootbaar, because I think that like now that he's going to be on the Dodgers and they sign him long term, like I'm just super comfortable with him now.
That's great. Did you move? Speaking of the Dodgers, where did you put Teoscar now that he's back with 24th? I like that.
We have him, yeah, up here, and I don't know, like he and Ozuna are going to just put up the same numbers pretty much. So like, I'm probably taking him ahead of the Ozuna though. Like if someone says you could have Teoscar Hernandez or Marcell Ozuna, I think I'm picking Teoscar. So I'm going to do that. Now that we're talking about that. So this tier here, Buxton, Estuary Ruiz. Like, does this guy matter? His speed score is so freaking high that it like bumps his F score way up. And it's like he could steal 60, 70, 80 bags, but like, is he even going to get the PT? Like, what do you think?
There's some you were talking about vibes earlier. There's some bad vibes there.
Yeah. I know. It's just like the speed. It's like, what do we do with Estuary Ruiz this year? Like, he's a guy that could win league. You know what I mean?
One of my draft philosophies for 2025 is going to be to not chase speed, because I think you can find it throughout the draft if you need it, if you think you need it. So,
Yeah.
um,
I
the
kind
one
of
trick,
agree with that. I think you just move him. I'm just going to throw him down. We'll deal with him later.
maybe I even want to amend that to the one trick ponies like Wallner. I keep telling you to move him down. Like, if you can only offer me one thing, like that might be a weekly pickup where I'm chasing a category, but I don't want to rely on one person to do one thing all year.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's kind of where we're at now. There's so many just kind of like blah outfielders, right? So, like, just going through some of these guys, we got Buxton. He has injury issues. We've got Jesus Sanchez, who's in a platoon. Luke Raley is a platoon bat. Brandon Donovan is a good hitter, but like, what else is he going to give you besides batting average and like 10 homers and 10 steals and
See,
like position flexibility? So, like, what do you do with someone like that? Would you rather have a Brandon Donovan and just have like 280, 10-10 guaranteed, take it to the bank, like 5 positions? Or would you rather have someone like Byron Buxton, who's good when he's healthy, but he's going to be hurt all the time? Or like, a speed guy like we were just talking about, like Leody Taveras, who's a 4th outfielder, but he's pretty good when he plays. Like, what are you doing with someone like that?
I think I'm leaning towards like I can deal with platoons, especially the strong side platoon. I can deal with the platoons over the guys like that I was just talking about, the Walners and the Ruizes. But it depends on the size of the league. Like in a 12 team league, I don't really want those 10-10, 280 guys. Like they're just placeholders, in my opinion. Like when you have the smaller player pool, like you want the high upside guys. Um,
Yeah.
so, but like in a 20 team league that we're in, like Brendan Donovan absolutely signed me up for that. Dansby Swanson would be another one of those guys, boring but consistent. Like the deeper the league, the more I want guys like that.
Yeah. And is there anyone in these rankings here that kind of stands out? They should move up or down. Like, I look at this and to me, it looks pretty keyed in. Marsh, Jock, Soler, Parker Meadows, Evan Carter, Jake McCarthy, Byron Buxton, Jesus Sanchez, Luke Raley, Brendan Donovan, JJ Bleday, Michael Conforto with the Dodgers. Like, he's probably going to get hurt and miss some time. Like, could he be better than like a Brendan Donovan? Yeah, but he's not going to have the position eligibility. So, like, I don't know. I think it's fine. Tavares, Larnick, another platoon guy. He's actually he had a pretty decent year last year. Ceddanne Rafaela, who is kind of like a Donovan, but like way more. He's just way more freaking volatile. Like, he's going to give you more power and more speed, but he's going to give you worse batting average. So, like, who are you going to pick between like Rafaela and Donovan? Are you just going to go at the upside with Rafaela? I mean, like, if you're in a 12 teamer for sure, but like if you're in a 20 or a 15 or 20 team league, are you going to go Donovan or Rafaela?
Probably Rafaela. Like that. He plays second base, right? That's one of the problem positions.
He's short in outfield, I want to say.
Short in outfield? I mean, still.
Donovan is like second, third, short, first, like catch. Like Donovan
outfield,
literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably take Rafaela over Donovan. Like,
yeah, I think I would in most leagues too. Like Donovan, maybe in a points league I'll go Donovan, but like I think most other leagues I'll probably pick Rafaela. Just playing around with this, I think. Bleday or like Luke Raley or Jesus Sanchez. Are you gonna pick Bleday?
yeah. Bleday over both those guys.
He's just gonna have more opportunity, and that's why. Like, I think both those guys might be better on a per at bat basis, but like Bleday is gonna have more run, more opportunity. Andy Pages, what are you doing with this guy? Because like now that the Dodgers are bringing Teoscar back, like he's a fourth outfielder. He's not going to start.
Yeah, he doesn't
I like him, but like I just don't know what to do with him. The Dodgers fourth outfielders don't get like what's he going to get? 400 at bats, 300 at bats, 400 at bats.
I don't even know if he's going to get that many.
Yeah, I think I've got to move Gurriel ahead of him and like Tavares. Probably move Gurriel like right here.
Like, I think Conforto is going to take a lot of those fourth outfielder at bats. Like I've said before, I think that they're trying to just get as many people as they can to play 2/3 of the time. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he makes the team, but like, I guess he could be a fourth outfielder. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. What about Big Christmas? Like, what do we do with Big Christmas? This dude has terrible plate skills. He's just all power. He's a worse version of Wallner, really.
Opposite-handed. Yeah, I don't know that you can trust him to.
I think though I like Pages better, but I feel like do we have to rank him ahead of Pages now because Pages is just not going to play? Noel is also going to be kind of like a platoony guy, but I think he's going to get more at bats than Pages and Leote.
I mean, Pages just got 400 at bats and hit 13 home runs, 250. Like, I'll take Noel, I guess, over.
Yeah. What about like Jared Kelenic? He was pretty bad last year. Like he didn't like we were all expecting him to be good now that he's on the Braves, but like nothing really changed.
He's only 25.
Yeah. He's
15
bombs, 7 steals, 400 at bats. So over a full season, you might get like 20-10 out of him in a full season with like a bad batting average. I don't know if he's ever going to get full season at bats. I think he's just going to be a platoon bat forever now.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I think I like him better than Davis Schneider still, though, so I'll move him ahead there. TJ Friedl.
He's fine.
Rebound or no?
If the playing time's there, yeah.
I'm moving him ahead of Davis Schneider, too. Your boy, Willie Castro.
I was just about to say, I think he could go all the way up to like ahead of Noel. He's actually like super useful. And you would never guess it.
What's weird is he only had 14 steals last year, and he had full-time playing time.
I don't think did the Twins run as a team? I think that might be. a
Rocco
philosophy
Baldelli.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rocco Baldelli doesn't run.
Yep. Remember, he's a Rays guy. He grew up with that.
Yeah, dude, he had 635 plate appearances and 14 steals. That's crazy.
Is this all still the same tier, or do we like stop this tier at like Noel and then like move some of these more platoony guys to like a separate tier?
Mm,
I mean, these guys are kind of platoony, but most of these guys should get the majority of at bats. You know what I mean? Whereas like Tavares is like clear, and Pais and Kanak are like clearly like fourth outfielders.
I think there might be a tier under Blade. I don't know. How do you think of Jesus Sanchez? I think that's a pretty capped profile.
Yeah, Luke Rayleigh is pretty good though. Maybe I just need to move Sanchez down.
Yeah, move Sanchez down.
Sanchez though last year 18-16, not terrible. So
Dude,
I mean,
it's so
like,
easy to just forget what people do for Miami.
yeah, I know.
Maybe he's fine.
Rayleigh and Raphael have a lot more upside though. I think I'm definitely moving Sanchez down to like under Gurriel.
He did that in 490 plate appearances too, so that's not even like he
Yeah.
had 630 or anything.
I think this is about it. I think I'm gonna stop this tier at Friedel, right? Like I don't really see anyone else I want to throw up into this tier. Maybe like JD Martinez.
No, he can't. No.
Yeah. All right, we'll stop this tier right here at Friedel. Now we're getting into some like guys that in some leagues you won't even care about, but like in deeper leagues will matter. So like this might be a couple huge tiers. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't need to be like super tiered out, but like basically the way that I want to think about this next tier that we're gonna do here, Raymond, is this is gonna be like guys that you have on the bench in like a 5 outfielder league as like your 6th outfielder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these are like because we're 81 guys deep right now. So if you're in like a 15 team league, 15 times 5 is 75. So basically we're at like your backup outfielder that you're gonna have in a 15 team league. And then we're gonna stop this tier where you're like, okay, I would not own this guy in a 15 team league. That would be a waiver guy. That's where we're gonna stop this tier. Make sense?
Gotcha.
All right. First off, I see this name sticking out to me right here like a sore thumb. Dalton Varsho should be up in this next tier up here. Just because of the playing time, right? Like I think Varsho's got to be like right behind Friedel. Friedel has a lot higher upside.
The only thing is he's hurt, and they already came out and said he's not going to be ready for opening day, right?
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure.
He had rotator cuff surgery.
But injury aside, yes, I would say he.
I was just going to say, what is the average? Yeah, it says he's not going to be ready for the start of the season, but doesn't really tell how long he's going to be out. So maybe you're right. Maybe he's.
But I mean, we're splitting hairs. Whether he's the bottom of that tier or the top of this tier, like, assuming health, I think he deserves to be in that tier above. So that's fine. Yeah, dude, there's not a lot. There's not a lot.
Yeah.
This tier gets ugly quick.
Bierling, Stanton. I guess Stanton could be higher just because he's going to probably get decent amount of playing time.
Bierling, I guess, could be at the top of this tier. He's going to play 3/4 of full time.
Would you have rather? Well, this is the thing. If you're in like a 12-team league, are you picking Stanton or Bierling? If you're in a 15 team league, you're picking Bierling because of the position flexibility. But
yeah.
I think though if Varsho were healthy and if all things were even, I'm picking Varsho ahead of Bierling still
though. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I think Bierling had one of his like 90th percentile outcome season last year. I don't expect him to improve much on what he did last year.
Dude, some of these guys are so bad. Like Sawinski was terrible last year. I'm gonna pick Sawinski still ahead of Clase and Ruiz. Benintendi terrible.
Had a good set there. August.
Ruiz ahead of Benintendi because I feel like Benintendi's just useless. Unless you're in a points league. Jose Siri, I think, can be interesting sometimes. So like I'm probably picking Siri ahead of Ruiz.
I think I'd put JD Martinez like under Stanton or even above Stanton if you wanted to go that high. Like If
Yeah.
he's healthy, I think he's going to be useful.
Yeah, he still has a good hit tool.
Yeah.
Joe Adell was actually pretty useful. I think I'm going to move. Okay, get this. Is Joe Adell better than Jared Kelnick?
Yeah, I think so.
That's funny. I think Pajes is better still, even though he's going to be a fourth outfielder, so I'll leave him there. Jake Fraley. Fraley's pretty good when he's healthy. Again, fourth outfielder. I feel like Jake Fraley and Jared Kelnick are almost the same thing at this point. Would you, if you had to pick one, Kelnick or Fraley, who are you picking?
Fraley. If they trade Steer, he might end up with some decent playing time.
Yeah, he's always going to be a platoon guy, but Dalton Rushing I really like, but he's not going to play now because the Dodgers keep signing people unless they trade someone. So like
I think they might trade him.
They might if that happens.
How old was?
He's better than Coste. He's better than Sawinski. Like I'll probably just move up to like.
They waited until Michael Busch was 26 when they traded him, right?
Yeah.
So I would say like the window to trade him is open. Like they'll trade him either for something they need or two 19-year-olds again that are top 100 prospects all of a sudden. Stupid Dodgers.
Christopher Morel, is this guy going to play for the Rays?
I don't know.
Are you picking Christopher Morel or Jack Sawinski?
Morel. I would put him under Pajes.
I think I'd rather have Adele. I'd rather have Fraley. I'd rather have Kelnick. Davis Schneider, I'd rather have. I think Schneider's better.
Dude, I don't really want any Rays that's not the obvious ones.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm going to put Rushing ahead of him even because if Rushing gets traded, then I'd rather have Rushing than Morel. I just don't think Morel's very good. Even like Benson's better on a per plate appearance level. So it's like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to leave him right ahead of Jack Sawinski. I think that's a spot for him. Kelvin Alcantara, I just don't know when he's going to play now because the Cubs just traded for Tucker. So he might just come up at the end of the year and be like a fourth outfielder. And I don't think he's going to get any better if he doesn't play because he has like Jordan Walker syndrome like times 10. This guy never hits the ball in there. Mike Yastrzemski. What do you think about Yastrzemski? Should he be higher?
I don't think so.
Is he going to start? He's starting, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think that outfield is still very fluid. That could change pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They seem like they didn't really want to play him last year. And then
you've got Lamont Wade Jr. These guys are very similar. Like, just leave him. Starling Marte. Should Marte be higher?
Yeah, I think he's kind of similar to JD Martinez, just obviously a much different player profile, but like he's good when he's healthy, or I guess he's useful when he's healthy. I wouldn't call him good. Like
okay, so here's the comp, right? Like Marte
he's a
or Tavares. Who are you picking? You're probably picking Marte or Tavares, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's a watered down version of what he used to be, but he's still useful.
Laureano.
He's fine.
Laureano was pretty decent last year. Actually.
I think this next guy is the one that I would move way up. Yeah, I think he has a chance to be really good as long as
it's playing time, man.
Yeah, it's just playing time. But like if you told me all of these guys in this tier get 500 at bats, I'd put him close to the top.
Yeah, like look, he's better than Jodell, but like Jodell's
I'd take him over Pajes.
Yeah, he'll probably play
similar numbers and 300 less plate appearances.
I think right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right under Marte is the spot, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yoshida, just I guess he's gonna play because of the contract, so he should probably be ahead of like Morel.
Yeah, I would take him over Adele.
Yoshida. Adele's gonna at least give you power, though. You sure? And Adele's
sure.
There could be more in there.
Adele's gonna hit 205.
Yeah, he will. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put him. I like Benson more. I'm moving Jacob Young down, by the way. All he is steals. And then I'm
I
gonna
mean, Yoshida's not a 0. He only had 400 plate appearances last year, hit 10 home runs, so you could settle in that like 15 to 18 range. Good lineup.
yeah, but the team doesn't even want him. Like,
Yeah, that's tough.
like
That's tough.
unless they trade him. If they trade him somewhere else, then maybe I'll move him up.
It's not that they don't want him; they just don't want his contract.
Yeah, MJ Melendez, Andrew McCutcheon. Like
Yuck,
Ruiz
yuck,
is going under
yuck.
all these guys, right? Like Ruiz,
Yeah.
just move him. Like,
Put him with Victor Scott.
yeah, I like Scott better actually. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So like, are we at the end of this tier, or does it just keep going? I think it's just
No, I think
like Brian De La Cruz.
Benintendi might be. Benintendi might be the free agent line.
Well, no,
Maybe.
I think it's further down. I think it's got to be like there's just like random guys here that all blend together. Like Loperfido could be a guy who plays. Like Loperfido should probably be higher. I think Loperfido should probably be up like ahead of Kevin Alcantara because one guy's going to play and one guy is not. I think Loperfido is better than Benintendi.
Jordan Beck and Spencer Jones, I guess I can see being higher. The problem is like your parameters you outlined here of like just a bench outfielder in those 15-team leagues is that everyone is just chasing upside when you get towards that point in the draft.
Yeah.
So like all these semi-exciting prospects just get drafted ahead of bench outfielders.
Yeah, but that's
Like,
what's actually going to happen in a draft. So I feel like
right.
that's what should probably occur.
But like, did Andrew Benintendi get drafted in those 15-team 5 outfielder leagues last year? Probably not.
No, not in like a standard league, only like a DC maybe. I think I'm gonna end this tier at like
You
these
should
guys
end it
should all be
directly
owned. You know
above
what I mean?
Ruiz.
I think like no, I feel, but like some of these guys here are so interesting. I just got to move them still. Like, for instance, Jung Hoo Lee is interesting, and he's gonna start now that he's healthy. So like this dude should move up probably like right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
but
I think
like
Stinsky should definitely move down. This guy should
maybe it's the Kutch line then because like he only got signed for vibes. Like he's not a real player anymore. He's gonna play 2 days a week. He's gonna be a veteran leader and
I think like this is the thing though. It's like Nolan Jones. What are you doing, Nolan Jones, this year? He should be higher, right? Like, are you picking Nolan Jones or Joe Adell?
barf. Nolan Jones, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do people still want him?
I mean, we know what he did. He had a good year. I think
He had a good year and then a bad year.
Right there. Yeah. Sal Frelick. Like he should be right by Jung Hoo Lee, like up here with these other like on base types. I think.
Yeah, Justin Henry Malloy is. I mean, he could be interesting. Like,
if he plays,
depending on what happens with Torkelson, he might end up playing
he's basically
part-time first base.
He's literally Lamont Wade Jr. but younger.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's who he is.
Better plate discipline.
Yeah. Victor Scott is going to start in center field. Like, can he actually be good? Like, I feel like it's worth a flyer. Like, he's a guy who should get drafted with your last pick.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, Thomas, and Ruiz are all very similar.
Like, okay, here's a question for you. Are you going to pick Victor Scott or are you going to pick Jacob Young?
Scott.
Yeah, see?
Like I said, dude, I'm kind of buying the dip on Cardinals. Like, I feel like they could just be that team that develops all their young players all at the same time, and they're kind of frisky and fun.
Yeah. I think so, too. Esteury Ruiz. I think you're right. He's the line. Where's our Esteury Ruiz? He's the last pick of any draft. Where's the Esteury Ruiz line? Are you picking Johnny DeLuca or Esteury Ruiz?
DeLuca. I think Brian De La Cruz is only going to be on the Braves roster until Acuna is healthy, and then he's getting cut.
Maybe, but if he's going to play on the Braves, then it's going to make him worth owning. Pavin Smith is pretty good. He was pretty good last year. He was like sneaky good, actually. I think Pavin Smith should be around here too, probably ahead of Laureano.
Zach DeZenzo's kind of interesting, but
They don't need him now that they got Christian Walker, though. So
right.
Jordan Beck could be interesting in Colorado. I think he should be ahead of like De La Cruz and McCutcheon, probably like right here.
Ryan Mountcastle is outfield eligible. When did that happen?
Let me see. Let's look that up real quick. That might have been the carryover from last year that I had. It looks like, yeah, he did not get outfield eligibility, so good call. He should be deleted off of this.
I was like, dude, if he needs to be at the very top of this.
Yeah, he was on it the year before, but yeah. Okay, I think that's about it, right? Like Dylan Moore, you'll take Dylan Moore. You're gonna take Dylan Moore ahead of Johnny DeLuca, right?
Yeah.
Probably ahead of Brian De La Cruz.
I also want Chase DeLauder asterisk. Like I don't know. I think there's a chance he just breaks camp and is really
Yeah,
really good.
no, you're gonna pick Chase DeLauder before you pick Esteury Ruiz. Like
absolutely.
He should be up here somewhere.
He should be like by Victor Scott, I think.
Yeah, I'm picking him over. Yeah, probably, and ahead of Colby Thomas.
Yeah,
and that kind of makes sense. Actually, I'm picking DeLauder ahead of Scott. I'm probably picking him right around Fraley, like Fraley, then DeLauder, something like that.
Well, dude,
if I'm picking DeLauder or Kelnick, I'm picking DeLauder. Like,
yeah,
give me the upside, you know.
If we know rushing has just like a 1% chance at mattering this year, he should probably fall a little bit, but
yeah, it just depends on like where he goes. But yeah, you're right. I'm probably gonna pick Victor Scott ahead of him. Colby Thomas has a better shot of playing.
I was gonna say put him right above Class A.
Here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. And then Spencer Jones. Like Spencer Jones is not going to play probably, but like that upside is so much fun. So I guess he's probably like the last guy. Like I'm probably picking Ruiz still ahead of Spencer Jones just for that reason in a redraft. So if you're in Dynasty, like Spencer Jones way up, but I think that's it. I don't think I'm scrolling down and there's really no one else I would want to move up into this tier. So we're going to call that a tier here at Esteury Ruiz. And then that leaves us with this giant like free agency tier that we can play around with, like 15-team league free agency tier. Some of the watch, half these guys are still going to be owned in like NLI, which is our 20-team league, or FAI, which is our 16-team Otnu league, where it's 40 men rosters. So we've got like Spencer Jones, Sam Hilliard, Jack Sawinski, Owen Casey, probably moving Casey out of Sawinski at this point. Jake Myers, Zach DeZenzo. Like at this point, you're just like, I'm gonna move the fun name, like higher upside names ahead. Tommy Pham can be interesting sometimes. Are you gonna pick Tommy Pham, or he's not even on a team yet? But would you pick Tommy Pham or Jack Sawinski right now?
Pham, Sawinski just
so bad last year.
Just showed you nothing last year. Like we were so high on him, and
Jeff McNeil. Should Jeff McNeil be higher? He should probably be in that next tier up. But like where? He's kind of boring. Like where around like McCutcheon more? I'd probably pick Dylan Moore ahead of Jeff McNeil. Like Johnny DeLuca and Jeff McNeil.
Johnny
DeLuca or Jeff McNeil.
Probably McNeil. Maybe put him above
right below Moore, I think.
Yeah, that's actually I was gonna say above De La Cruz. So yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. Then we've got like randoms, Encarnacion, Verdugo. Probably Verdugo should be ahead of Pham, right there. Bader can be interesting. Probably ahead of Sawinski.
He's fine.
He's got
health issues, and Kyle Stowers might.
He should be high. I think he should be in the next tier. Stowers is going to play next year because the Marlins suck. I think, should we put Kyle Stowers ahead of Brian De La Cruz?
Yeah, that's fine. Dude, I think Kutch is too high. He's just not going to matter. Like,
oh, come on. He's going to play a little bit.
I get the legacy ranking.
Like that.
I get the legacy ranking. Like, that's fine. But, like, How much did
It's
he
gonna
even
do
play
like
last year?
he'll get 400 at bats and go 12-12 with like a 250 batting average, 240 batting average, and a decent OBP because he's got a good eye.
Bro, he had 20 home runs last year.
Yeah, because he just played.
450 plate appearances, 20 home runs, 3 steals, hit 230.
Get that
Fucking get it, Kutch.
Get that PT, baby. Jacob Melton. Someone asked me about this guy. They're like, I think I was talking Cardinals trades for Arenado, and I was like, I don't want Jacob Melton. They're like, Jacob Melton's good. I was like, no. I sent like a screen cap of my fScore on him. Like his hit tool is so bad. Like he's all tools. So I don't know. Like
He's Joe Dell.
yeah, he is. He's all tools, this guy. I guess we'll just leave that. Like this tier just kind of anyone in this tier you want to pop up? Like a
Caleb
Ronnie
Durbin.
Mauricio, Hunter Renfroe. Oh yeah, Durbin might play. Well, we don't know if he's gonna play. He has a better shot now though with the Brewers than he did with the Yankees. So like, are we gonna bump him in the next tier or just put him like
No,
here,
I just put him
like right
that's
under
fine.
Spencer Jones?
Put him above Sawinski. I don't
As long as he's ahead of Sawinski, that's all that matters. Let's see what else do we have here. Where is Sawinski? I like lost him. There he is. So we've got. It looks like I lost Raymond again, but we're gonna close this out soon anyway. Alejandro Osuna, I like a lot. This is a name, and he performed really well in the Arizona Fall League. So there you are. Let's wrap this up because StreamYard keeps wanting to kick us off anyway, right? So,
right.
we got a bunch of just like guys that might debut, might not debut. Chandler Simpson could be interesting. So could Alejandro Osuna. So I want to move these two guys up in the tier here. David Fry is hurt. Like he'd be more interesting if he was not hurt. So like he's not going to play until the second half. So you're probably not drafting him, but he might still be better than like an Austin Martin. But like these guys here are kind of interesting. So I'm going to bump them up. Osuna and Simpson. And Simpson, I think with his speed, he should be like probably right under Durbin. Just
Henry
race.
Davis, I think, still is a little interesting.
I feel like he's a guy who needs a trade. I feel like the Pirates are kind of just over on, which is crazy because they drafted him first overall.
Yeah, they drafted him ahead of what draft was that? They didn't draft him ahead of Gunnar, did they?
They might have. Yeah, I think Gunnar was a second rounder, dude. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that, but I think he's like a second rounder. Yeah, I guess he should be up with like Hunter Renfroe, like ahead of Hunter Renfroe at least, like next to Ronnie Mauricio.
Jackson Jobe, Marcelo Meyer, Colton Cowser, Jordan Lawler.
You know, look,
Kumar Rocker.
See my last player is Chris Bryant.
Yes, I chuckled. Andrew Painter.
Yeah, I think most
Matt
of this is out.
McLean.
Charlie Condon's not going to play. Like I have him on here, but he's just not going to play this year.
Conine is kind of interesting, but he's not going to play this year.
He will play. He actually should get like pretty good playing time, I think.
You think?
Yeah, and Tauchman should too. I think they're probably going to get more playing time than like McCormick and Renfroe. Well, Renfroe I think is supposed to start or like being a platoon, which is crazy, but I think this is pretty fair, more or less, the way this is structured. This last tier, like these last guys anyway, it's kind of like just pick one. It's like, what skill do you need and pick it? So I don't really think anything standing like super out of place here. Zach Veen's a guy who could be interesting if the Rockies call him up. I like Dylan Beavers better than him, but the Orioles have so many guys. Like, unless Beavers is a part of a trade for a pitcher, it's kind of like whatever. So I think Veen will move up to head of like Jack Swinsky, for instance. Just leave it like that. So, Raymond, you have a Raymondism for us as we've closed out the outfielders here?
If you filibuster for 60 seconds, probably.
All right, I will. So you'll be able to find this on Fantasy Pros in the next couple of days here. It should be posted if you want to get the rankings for yourself, or you can just watch the video on the YouTube. Get them now. Screen cap it if you want. I don't really care. I'm giving the information out for free. It's not a paid thing, so don't feel like you're doing anything dirty if you do that. But you should be able to find most of this on Fantasy Pros. If you want to watch the YouTube video and you're just listening to the podcast, it is the Tim Kanak on YouTube. And then Raymond is at Raymond Atherton on the Twitter machine. And I am at Fantasy Aceball.
All right, so the only pitcher with 200 or more innings and a sub 350 ERA in each of the past 2 seasons. Care to guess?
Oh, I want to see Zach Wheeler or Logan Gilbert.
Logan Webb.
I had a Logan.
Half right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Logan Webb pitches a crap load, which is like his whole talent is just his pitch, and if, by the way, if you want to know where I have Logan Webb ranked in starting pitchers, he's number 15 right now for me. Right or wrong, dude. I've got Logan Webb 1 spot ahead of Framber Valdez. What do you think?
I might be like all the way in on Framber this year, but that seems fine. I keep hearing from people who do rankings that starting pitching is like insanely deep this year.
Yes, I have my tier 1, and when we go through the starters, you'll see. But my tier 1, I cannot cut this down, dude. All these guys are so similar, but right now I have a 27-man tier 1, and that's the only tier I have in starting in pitchers so far. But I have 27 guys in my first tier. I can't figure out like how I would want to change it, because I'm like, all these guys could swap all pretty easily. Like, for instance, I have Spencer Strider as my last guy in that tier at number 27 right now, only because he's not going to play until June. But like, obviously, like, huh?
I said you should send that to me.
You're shared on it already. You just have to look.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I'll do it right
You
now.
sent me all the hitter ones, but not pitcher one.
I thought I did. So, like, for instance, like I have like Spencer Steer, Grayson Rodriguez, and Garrett Cole are the last 3 guys in that 27-man starting pitcher tier. And I'm like, all 3 of these guys could be top 10 starters. So it's like, how can I? It's like, what's the point of like tearing this out anymore? But I don't know. Maybe once we get into the starters, you can talk me out of it, and we can close some of those tiers up a little bit. So,
all right, dude. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, right on. Happy New Year's, everybody. It's New Year's Eve right now. People are like shooting fireworks off when we're podcasting. But thanks, Raymond, for coming on. Peace out. It was fun. See you, everybody.
Hopefully StreamYard behaves a little better next time.
Oh yeah. Come on, Ducky.